Welcome to Donington Park. My name is Alexandra Legui. I'm here to bring you some fantastic racing. We're covering the Super Pro VAG Trophy and also the lubricant consultancy Mark II Golf GTI Championship. The weather is appalling, the driving conditions are atrocious, but we're in for some exciting racing. So, new for 2012, the regulations have been simplified, new measures have been introduced, and also we have the addition of the Mark IV TDI GTI Golf Challenge that will run inside the VAG Trophy. I'm going to speak to David Jenkins, who'll be running for the first time this season in his Mark IV.
Yeah, the Mark IV is a new series or a new class being put into the VAG series this year. The cars seem very fast, competitive with all the other classes of cars in the racing, really good fun to drive. Yesterday today as well, we're on road tyres, so yesterday I had a little bit of a disadvantage compared to some of the Toyos and the slicks that the other cars were running. Today we don't really know what's going to happen, but we think it should close the gap really between the tyres. So if we make it round the first corner and settle down to the conditions, I'm hoping to do well today.
Tell me a little bit more about these new regulations for 2012.
Well, they're designed to bring the racing closer together. It's done on a power to weight ratio, and it seems by the qualifying times and the race times that we're all on top of each other, and the closeness of the racing is unbelievable. Whether you're in the top 3 or 18th or 19th, you're always having a race with each other, so that's good.
Now, we see the first year of your bro getting involved. How's that for you?
Dave is current British truck racing champion, and he's obviously handy behind the wheel. He knows Donington like the back of his hand. We do a lot of truck racing here, and it's good. We're putting him out in the Mark IV GTI TDI Championship car. It's an inaugural year, and it's a cheap way of getting started racing, and Dave's doing a good job. He's hustling it around, and he's 7th on the grid, I think, for the second race. The car has got a similar power to weight ratio to my MAN truck that I normally drive. I think the cornering speeds are faster in the truck because the trucks are limited to 100 mile an hour on the straights, and these cars are doing about 125 on the straights, and the lap times are very similar, so I think the corner speeds are higher in the truck than they are in the car. I had a little bit of a braking issue with the car yesterday, but we've sorted that out before the race. It's very similar. It's just, you don't need to be quite so concerned when you're going 3 wide in the car like you would if you were 3 wide in the truck through Craners.
Now, you're a 2011 champion. What's different? Who have we got new in this year that could be giving you a run for your money?
We've got Ken Lark. We've got a few new guys there. I haven't really got to know them too well yet. There's a couple of Beatles out there, a few ex-VW Cup boys. So there is quite a few new names there. There was 2 new. Paul Taylor was up on the podium yesterday, Ken Lark as well. 2 new guys on the podium with me. So we'll see. There's definitely a lot more Class A cars in the mix, which is good for the championship, bringing more cars in.
Atrocious conditions here at Donington Park for the Super Pro VAG Trophy, and this is how they line up with Daniel Rose on pole position, Tony Absalom alongside him on the front row of the grid, Mark Jenkins and Ken Lark on row 2 with Mark's brother David down on the outside of row 4. Look at this rain pelting down. It's conditions fit for powerboat racing, not car racing. The red lights are on. In-car James Howlerson. Out they go, and away we go now. It's a good start from James. He moves away well, as does the rest of the field, as they surge down towards Redgate for the first time of asking. It's Tony Absalom, though, who's got the jump in the dark Golf, the 99 car, to the middle of your screen. And it's Absalom who's going to lead into Redgate, with Paul Taylor looking to the outside. Also Mark Jenkins trying to squeeze through up in second. Jenkins goes sideways and around into the gravel trap. And Mark Jenkins, well, it was a brief race. It was a spectacular one, and unfortunately I don't think he can get out of there. Everybody else, though, cleanly through, and that has enabled Daniel Rose to sneak up into second position as well. So Rose, he didn't get such a good start, but he's now in second and pressurising Absalom down through the Craner curves and into the old hairpin for the first time asking. It's Paul Taylor in third, Joe McMillan's car up into fourth position, and David Jenkins, superstar, he's there in fifth, and Rob Allen just making the move on Keith Davies into sixth. James Howlerson in the midst of back, and he's just up on the tail of Mike Smith now around the outside of the old hairpin. He looks brave in these conditions from Howlerson. You can see the windscreen wipers going at full chatters. Into the lead of the race now goes Daniel Rose. Super move from Rose. He moves up the inside of Tony Absalom as they turn into McLean's. And now that Rose in the lead, will he be able to pull away into the distance? Here's David Jenkins in fifth position, and he leads Class B with Rob Allen second in class, trying to chase him down out of Coppice and onto the Dunlop straight come the leaders A little bit sideways there from Paul Taylor. McMillan slightly tidy. Now what will sideways David Jenkins do? He goes sideways in true truck racing fashion. That's what the truck fans know and love Jenks for, and he immediately converts the style into his car racing debut, as turning into Goddard's, the race leader Daniel Rose now trying to pull away from Tony Absalom. Good battle for the third shaping up. As up the inside now of James Howson comes Steve Rhodes in the 14 car. Rowland to the inside at Goddard's. Howson wishes to dispute this around the outside. Brave stuff from the pair of them. Who's going to prevail? I think it's just going to be Rowland, though, who moves ahead, as Jenkins coming under a little bit of pressure now from Rob Allen. He's steadily bringing the gap down in the Seat as well. You can somehow just about see him there in the murk. The rain really coming down as the tractor recovers the sorry car of Mark Jenkins out of the gravel track. McMillan in fourth position, just sticking firmly through the road. He wants to avoid those white lines at the edge of the track, because that's what could pitch him into a spin. Rose pulling away at the head of the field, and he's got no concerns, has he, about the curbs? Right across the curbs and the grass goes Daniel Rose as he tries to stretch his legs and pull away from Tony Absalom. Further back down the order, James Bradley Silverstone in the Beetle has got a queue of cars forming up behind him. And it's Martin Walsh just ahead of that queue, as Tony Taylor in number 5 car tiptoes through the old hairpin back to the Class B battle in the Mark 4 goal for David Jenkins, showing that this could be a very popular car for Super Pro VAG Trophy competitors over the course of the year, showing very well in these wet conditions and producing some great entertainment as well. But now Jenkins has got Allen to worry about. This is for the Class B lead, and it's also for 5th place in the race overall. Allen's though got a good run out of Coppice onto the Dunlop straight, and Allen could do this here. He pulls alongside David Jenkins and through he goes. Super move from Allen to elevate himself up into 5th position. Jenkins slips down the order, although he's well clear of Keith Davies, who is next man up. Still the battling continues behind. It's amazing really these conditions as Barry Cully turns through in the Vento, back in car with James Howson. Is in the midst of this battle. He can barely see a thing through that windscreen. As into gravel trap's gone Absalom. It's Tony Absalom from 2nd place in the race, slithers into the gravel trap of the old hairpin. So that now promotes David Jenkins up into 5th position. He chases down Rob Allen newly into 4th place. And if anything, these conditions seem to be worsening. The track is now really taking on a glistening sheen, isn't it, as the water is coming down, settling as a spin for a while. He goes round once and around he goes again. Will he avoid David Jenkins? He slews across the circuit. Jenkins takes the grass. Davis just avoids him on the other side. Allen rejoins. Heart-stopping moment for all of them, as in 2nd place Paul Taylor is just beginning to be caught here by Joe McMillan. The Seat is steadily closing on him as Martin Walsh leads this group of cars through, and then we've got the Beetle of James Bradley Silverstone with Andrew Aldridge looking to make progress on Tony Taylor. Taylor already taking the defensive line up the crest into Coppice. He's half looking to the inside of Bradley Silverstone in the Beetle, also half defence from Andrew Aldridge as the rest of the field turn through. Great scrapness in the midfield as the 5th, 2nd and 3rds really come down now, and Taylor's under pressure from McMillan, who's got an excellent run out of Goddard's. Along the start to finish straight they come, and around the outside McMillan surges through and takes 2nd place away from Paul Taylor. Super driving from McMillan to elevate himself up in 2nd place, although I fear for him that's as far as he's going to go, because Daniel Rose has really just disappeared off into the distance. So out of Hollywood and down the Crane of Curves comes the fight for 2nd and 3rd, because Paul Taylor is not letting McMillan get away with this just yet. Particularly McMillan continues to drive through the poles like he did across the curve just then into the old hairpin again. Taylor gaining ground. This battle is going to go all the way to the checkered flag, isn't it? Because there's still only a couple of car lengths between them. Have a replay of Andrew Aldridge running wide at Goddard. Suspect that he is the first of many. Right, next effort, Nicholas Barton. This time it's the backwards entry approach. Takes the curb cones with him, but he should rejoin. And then just completely locking up Tony Taylor straight on out of proceedings. Well, it's last that time, and Daniel Rose turns through Goddard's for the final time. It's been a super drive from Rose in incredibly difficult conditions. The checker flag goes out, and it's the win at Donington Park. Best possible start for the 2012 Super Pro VAG Trophy season for the 2011 champion Daniel Rose. He takes the win in abysmal conditions and receives the applause of the Hardy Marshals, without whom we wouldn't have been racing. They have enabled the drive to put on a great show, with Daniel Rose taking the win from Joe McMillan and Paul Taylor. Rob Allen claims 4th in the Class B victory from David Jenkins, with 3rd in Class 7th overall going to Neville Moore. Cars impart firme, and the drivers celebrate on the podium with some very, very well-deserved champagne.
Daniel Rose, what a result. Congratulations for your 2nd win this weekend.
Yeah, no, it was great, really good. The weather and everything, it played into my hands. I've always been quite good in the rain, and got a good start. There was a shenanigans at the start, as there always is, and they all piled off sort of thing. I managed to stay on, just got going. I thought, right, get a break. We managed to break away. I didn't know how far I was though or anything, and then I started to break away a bit, so I just thought, right, get your head down, and just carried on from there.
Well, that's it for the Super Pro VAG Trophy. We'll be back after the break for the Mark II Golf GTI Championships. I think the weather has got slightly worse. We'll see how it is.